Hello and welcome back to Projects in Java. Today we're going to continue learning how to use Maven. The topic that we're going to cover today is repositories. And so the way repositories work is you have a local one, and if the dependency is not found in a local repository, it's copied from a remote one. And so you can specify your own remote repositories. The default is using the Apache one. You can submit your projects to this repository, but more likely you would want to keep these private. So I'm going to show you how to create and use your own repository. So first let's go ahead and take a look at our local repository. You can go to your users folder and then go to .m2 and you have your repository. We can go and look up something here. So let's go to we'll go to type safe, and this is where we have our ACA information. So if we open it up, we find the jar file dependency that we needed for our ACA project. And so let's go to our ACA project in our Maven projects folder. Let's open up primes and then go down to get to the source code. And we're going to want to separate this just for testing. We'll want to make it so that two of the classes are in this prime project, and then we'll create another project called calculator or calc. And the calc will use the prime project. Now let's go ahead and open the POM file. And we're going to take off this snapshot. We're just going to call this version 1.0. And we're not going to want to make this shaded jar this time, so let's take that out. And we'll go ahead and save this. Now let's go to the command prompt and go to that folder, so cd primes. And then we're going to run maven clean install. And so now that the build was successful, let's go ahead and go back to our repository folder. And we'll go back to the root of it. And so here you can see where our project was installed to on the local repository. We'll copy this to a repository folder. You can just create any folder. Copy this into here. And so now let's go back to command prompt, and we're going to go up a folder. And then we're going to run the same command that we ran earlier, but this time we're going to create the calculator project. So change this to calc. Now let's cd into that directory. So cd calc. And then let's go modify the POM file. So we'll open that directory. And here's our POM file. And we'll modify this dependency to ACA primes. And our artifact ID was primes. And the version was 1.0. The scope will take off. And then next, let's go to the source code. And first thing is we'll erase the test. Then we'll go into main, erase the app. And we'll copy in the prime calculator Java file. And so let's go back to command prompt and run maven package. And it should say build success. So let's go ahead and try and run this. We're going to add the jar file to the class path. And we'll call akka primes.prime calculator. Okay, left out the A there. I'm going to try that again. And here's the same error that we saw when we didn't create the shaded jar. So we can create that right now. So let's go ahead and add that to our prime calculator POM. So we'll undo this and cut this from the original file to the calculator file. And we can run Maven package again. And then we'll try and run it. And there are our primes. Now this is still using the local copy that we built. So let's go ahead and delete the copy in the local repository. And we can just delete this whole folder. And then now if we try to package it, we should get an error. And the error is that we're not able to resolve the primes project that we're working on. And the reason for this is because it's no longer the local repository, it's checking the remote repository, which is the Apache one. And of course, the code that we created is going to be on there. And so we need to add our repository to the POM file. And if we go to the Apache website, we can scroll down and see the XML code for repository. And we can copy that into here. And the ID, we can leave it the same, but for the URL, we'll make it a file. And this is the folder that I'm using. So C/Maven repository. Save that. Go back to command prompt and run Maven package. And this time it was a success. So now when it checked the local repository and it wasn't there, then it went to the repository that we made and it found it there and copied it to a local. If we go back to our local repository, we should see it there. And then it used it to create this shaded jar. And so now you should be able to see the benefits of Maven. We have our calculator project, which used our primes project, and that pulled from Akka, and then Akka also required Scala. So we have these 4 projects that came together into this one jar by just including one dependency. So it has that structure to where you can create an easy build environment. In our next project, we'll create an archetype and utilize that.